I hate buttons! I mean, for example, look at my iPhone. If I can, there's buttons all over the place. You call them apps. I call them oops. Because the only way most of them get open is if I touch a screen by accident. And I go, oops, I don't know what the heck to do with them. One time recently, one of these stupid things opened up. I couldn't get rid of it. So I kept on hitting the screen all over the place, trying to close it. Finally, it closed. So I thought I was done with it. But no. 10 minutes later, someone named Uber was outside the house. I didn't know who he was. I told him to go away. And he gave me a bad rating. I don't even know what the heck it is. Now, there are two buttons that I do use on purpose. One looks like an old phone receiver, which I do send and receive phone calls, which ironically is the only thing most of you don't use it for. Then there's god-awful texting button. I can't stand it. I hate it. But people text me. I don't know why. My problem is replying to the text. Every time I start doing that, more buttons open up, like a typewriter keyboard. I can't type. So instead of spending the whole day replying to his text, I'll just reply with okay, no matter what the subject matter is. And that sometimes can be very inappropriate. So one time, for example, get a text, what time are you coming home? Okay. I just robbed a bank. Okay. I just ran away to join ISIS. Okay. Now you may wonder, who sent me those last two texts? And the FBI had that same question. Then they found out I was somehow on someone else's cloud. What? Huh? I mean, whoa! What the heck are they talking about? Another issue I have with buttons is remote controls. There are so many buttons! I actually spent some time recently counting exactly how many buttons are on my remote. You'll never guess. Actually, guess.
40.
Wrong. Anyone else?
20.
How many?
20.
Well, if you were guessing my IQ, you were close. Well, look, you're a great audience, but you need a little help in the guessing department. So I'm going to give a hint, and whoever calls out the number first will get a nice surprise, and you won't be embarrassed. It's a number between 47 and 49.
48.
Very good, a winner. See? Pace and speak up. So, I don't know about you, but I only really use 3 buttons on the remote. I need a button to turn the TV on, change the channel, adjust the volume. Those other 45 buttons can be nothing but trouble, as I found out. One day I was sitting home on my couch, watching TV, enjoying life. All of a sudden, the sound went off. The sound went off! Now, it could have been the channel I was watching, so I wasn't too worried. I put on something else, still no sound. Okay, so I called the cable company. And they said, everything's fine on their end. Really? They should see it on my end. There's no sound! So I called a friend of mine, and I told him the crisis I was in. And he suggested I hit the mute button on the remote. Now, at the time I thought that was the stupidest thing I ever heard of. I have no sound. Why would I hit the mute button? But I pressed it, and the sound came back on. Go figure. Actually, in retrospect, I should have known that that could have been a solution. There was another button on the remote labeled on I need to press to turn the TV off. So on is off, mute is sound. What's next? Cats lying down with dogs? What is this? Am I in a parallel universe where logic is turned upside down? Gee. Now there is one device in my home that has buttons that I do use, and I love it. It's called a DVR. Don't ask me what it stands for. Don't ask me how to spell it. But I now can record shows that come on after I go to sleep, like the evening news at 6:30. And I can watch it the next day after my morning nap. It's even forced me to learn 2 new buttons on the remote, record and play. So while most of the time I get by with 3 buttons, I now can use 5. 5 out of 48. At this rate, it'll take me about 20 years to learn all those buttons. But by that time, there'll likely be a new technology that'll make remotes out of date. I can just imagine in 20 years I can probably change the channel with my brain waves. Boy, that'll be a trick. But I can just imagine I'm sitting there and I'm stuck watching Lifetime. So the worst thing, my biggest fear about buttons is that it's going to follow me into the afterlife. One day when I go to my final reward, and I hope it's, when I get to those pearly gates, if they're locked, and there's instructions on how to input my username and password onto a keyboard, there's going to be hell to pay. Good night, peace, and don't push my buttons, please.